Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah, Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair, wa bika nasta'in ya fatah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri, wa ahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Inshallah, we'd like to start off with a question that Imām Nawawi basically posed in his work, which is applicable to all of us. And that question is, when is the best time for us to study? When is the best time? If you could choose a time, when would be the best time to study? What do you think? Yeah. Morning? Fajr time? Okay. Any others? Tahajjud time? Okay. Morning? No. So Ali radiallahu anh, he narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, Allahumma barik li ummati fi bukuriha. Allahumma barik li ummati fi bukuriha. That the Prophet ﷺ, Ali radiallahu anh said that the Prophet ﷺ said that, oh Allah, grant barakah for my ummah in the early morning time. In the early morning time. Okay, this could be inclusive of tahajjud time as well, and also right after Fajr as well. Both times. Early morning. There's a lot of barakah at that time. Right? A lot of times people are usually sleeping at that time. Okay. Or, kids, for example, maybe they're sleeping at your house. Okay, so they might not be keeping you so occupied and preoccupied like how they usually do throughout the day. But this is a time where the psychologists and the practitioners would say, okay, you need to have some self-care, right? They use the word self-care. But when it comes to our deen, it's much more than that as well. We have care for ourselves, for our family, for the ummah, everybody. But when we're talking about personal ibadah with no distractions, this is a beautiful time to do that. Where the Prophet ﷺ said that, oh Allah, he made dua, right? He made dua that, oh Allah, grant barakah for my ummah in the early morning. And for those that study for exams or study for tests or memorize Quran, a lot of us, when we were memorizing Quran, the best time and the quickest that we were able to memorize was in the early morning. When we would read our new lesson, the night before, maybe 5 times, 10 times. But then you come back in the morning and you sit there and you try to memorize it within a few minutes. Within a few minutes, I'm not making this stuff up. Within a few minutes, you're able to memorize it. As opposed to, I know students that would try to memorize it for the first time, at night or after Maghrib, kind of tired, no sleep. That same 2-3 lines that they were trying to memorize, that would take them a few minutes after Fajr only. Now it's taking them a good 30-45 minutes to an hour. Okay, so huge impact. Obviously, you can look at it from the medical perspective. That's fine. But we're looking more specifically from the aspect of deen, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed a lot of barakah at that time. Okay, so that's one point. Another point that Imam Nawawi wanted to make here is that the students of the Quran, they need to be mindful not of what just they are trying to memorize today, but what they already memorized in the past. So any surahs, any ajza that you memorized in the past, this is key for us to continuously review them. Very important for us to review them. Why? Anas radiallahu anh, he narrated that the Prophet ﷺ had mentioned that the rewards of the actions of my ummah, they are presented to me. They are presented to me. Every single deed and the reward of those deeds, they are going to be presented to me. Even the reward, the Prophet ﷺ said, even the reward of that individual who removes any type of dirt or some garbage from the masjid, even that will be presented to me as well. And thereafter, the sins of my ummah will be presented to me as well. So the rewards will be presented in front of me, and then the sins will also be presented in front of me. And he said, this is key part, He said, I did not see any sin greater than the individual who memorized a surah or memorized an ayah of the Quran. It didn't say the whole Quran. This isn't just applicable to Hufaz. It's applicable to all of us. We all know surahs or ayat within the Quran. He said, I did not see any sin that was greater than that person who memorized a surah or who memorized an ayah of the Quran and then they forgot it. And then they forgot it. One of the greatest sins that will be presented in front of me, Prophet ﷺ said. So whatever surahs, alhamdulillah, we memorized when we were younger, whether it was Surah Ikhlas, whether it was some of 30 juz, ajza, it's a practice that we want to make sure that we continuously review them as well. Yeah, I know people, we want to work on our tajweed. This is good, this is important. But at the same time, don't leave that what you have already memorized. Okay, give time for that. And one of my Quran teacher, he would say that, okay, for those surahs that you're not so strong in terms of memorization, then use your nawafil salah to continuously practice it. Maybe not your fara'id salah because you don't want to make major mistakes in your fara'id salah, but use your nafil salah as a means of practicing. Okay, practice your surahs then, because it's one thing to just sit there and read the ayah, read the surah, but it's another thing when you're saying it completely from memory. Then you really know how well you know the surah or not. Then you really know how well you know the ayah or not. When you recite it to somebody, okay, or when you're reciting it from memory. Okay. Oh, that was the second point he mentioned. Next point was not to give someone else, when you have the opportunity to do a good deed, not to give somebody else the preference to go ahead and do it before you. Now you might think this is a little bit strange, okay, but some of the fuqaha would say that's very offensive. It's offensive to give somebody preference when it comes to doing a good deed. Okay, like for example, if you're reciting Quran and you have the opportunity to recite to a shaykh, and he only has a few minutes left, and he said, "Oh no, brother, you can go ahead. I'll go later." We know later is never, right? Later is not happening. Later is not happening. Or for example, a common one that I see is we're making sufuf for salah, and there's a spot that opens up in the first row. That's like that's like taking it's like getting a higher position in your job, right? There's a spot opens up in the first row, and then no, brother, you go ahead. No, brother, you go ahead. No, brother, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead. You take that. You take it. Why not? Why are you not taking it? Why are you not taking it? You take the spot. Now, if you have a good intention that I want them to get the reward, okay, fine, mashallah, Allah reward you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you an opportunity to pray in the first row. He gave the opportunity to do a good deed. You go ahead and do that. By you not taking it, what are you showing to Allah? You're showing to Allah, I'm good. I have enough. I have enough good deeds. Maybe that person might need it more. I don't need it that much. I don't need it that much. So remove that. Remove that aspect from your heart. When you have the chance, when you have the opportunity to do the good deed, then you don't need to push anybody else forward. Push yourself forward and go ahead and you do that. Okay. And he states that there's two qualities. There's two qualities that individuals who study the deen or who have a lot of ilm, they are affected by. They are envy and pride. And he gives the remedy for both of these ailments. He says a student is obliged and is highly advised that he not have any envy toward his peers. Okay, or for anybody else in that matter. Why? Because of some quality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the generous Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-Kareem, He has given. So he shouldn't wax proud over what he himself achieves. No, he shouldn't wax proud of what he himself has achieved. This is a quality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to so and so brother, so and so sister. Maybe He didn't give it to you. Only thing you can do is make dua for them. You make dua for them, you be happy for them. by you having that envy in your heart, I want that deed. I want them not to have that deed. And that's not a way for that quality to come into you. Definitely not like that. Okay. And then he states that the way for a student to remove pride is by remembering that his achievement that he has did not occur through his own power or strength. Rather, it only occurred through the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, when you have that type of mindset, then the student, he's not going to be proud of something that they did not even produce. I didn't do that. I wasn't the one that, recited the Quran for 3 hours. That wasn't me. That was because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me the ability to do that. If He didn't give me the ability, if He didn't give me the grace to do that, I would not have been able to do that. No. So that's how you remove this aspect of pride. And the way to remove envy is to know that with certainty that it was with the hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High, that this beautiful quality was given to so-and-so individual. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it to so-and-so individual, who are we to object to why this person got this quality? What status do we have? What rank do we have? Oh, that guy shouldn't have had this. He shouldn't have got that car. He shouldn't have got this job. No. We can't object to the hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because then we're really showing that we dislike the hikmah of Allah. Okay? That's what we're doing. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed for that individual to have that quality, then we are going against what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has willed. We are disliking what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has willed for that individual. And anytime you dislike anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills for, obviously there's nothing but there's no barakah that's going to come. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove any harbor, any envy or pride from our hearts, and allow us to connect with the Quran. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.